When it comes to Star Citizen 1.0, what do you see that looks wrong? That looks like it might be not as great for the game compared to some of the other things like the crafting system we've been looking at.
Let me pull up that diagram and refresh my memory on this. The fact that nothing comes to mind in particular for the vision for 1.0, I think bodes well in my mind for the vision of it. I think the thing that I really took away from it is that they finally have a clear vision that they've stated publicly. It's been a long time since we've had that clarity from CIG. They've said a lot of things through the years, and those things have changed through the years too, in sometimes confusing ways that have not been well clarified. And it's been a bit of a frustration as somebody who covers it, certainly as somebody who's a backer, to understand what they're really going for. And it's also created a lot of unnecessary friction in the community because everybody has their own idea for what they think Star Citizen's going to be.
Man, the PvP discussion.
They create these camps and shut other people down if they don't fit within the vision they think it's going to be. So it's nice that they put their feet down and said, this is our vision for the game. This is what we're going for, because it kind of, to some extent, quiets that discussion.
Spot on.
I think more importantly, having this vision gives you a driving goal, a reason, like an endpoint that you're trying to get to, and it just makes me much more confident in the project that these systems have been thought out, that the loops have been considered and concepted, even if we're not entirely sure if they're going to work in the first iteration. Certainly, it's going to require some iteration and balancing to get it right. But at least I think that they've got this idea and this concepting of it that is really good. And, one of the things that really jumped out to me was this diagram that I just posted in chat, and maybe you could pop it up on the podcast where people can watch it. But it was one of the slides that was in the presentation when Richard Tyler was talking about visualizing loops, and the way that all of these different professions connected was just so intriguing and exactly what I wanted to see out of a vision for the game. I think this is the exact type of thinking that I've been hoping to see, because this is what I think makes a game, is these loops, these interconnecting gameplay experiences that either connect you directly with the loop or connect you with other players who help complete that loop. So maybe you don't want to go and mine for resources to get that blueprint. That's fine. You can go find somebody in your org or somebody that you know that will go get that blueprint for you that you can pay them for. And you can maybe keep doing the thing that you like doing bounty hunting runs to make some more money, right? So it's just, I think that's what really I took away from it. Yeah, maybe you could say there are certain things that they talked about in their vision for Star Citizen that's missing from this. I know that there's stuff that's missing from this, but I don't think 1.0 is the end, that it's a compromise. To me, what I think they're trying to do, and maybe this is an optimistic look, and I'm just, huffing copium hard on this, is that they're trying to establish a strong baseline loop for the game, an actual game to play from which to build everything off of. And from a marketing standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint, from a longevity standpoint, I think this makes the most sense. The sooner that they can get a game with loops in it, I think the longer people are going to be willing to stick around and spend money on the project. I don't think this current state of development where just islands of features and content are continually delivered in tier 0 or worse format, where there's no connection whatsoever between them. That's what I mean by islands of content, is not a long-term sustainable way of doing Star Citizen. And we're starting to see that, I think, in the funding. I don't think that's the only reason why it's not doing so well this year and the year before, but I think it's a possible contributing factor to it. I think the more gameplay they get in, the more new players they're going to get in, and the better funding's going to be. So it makes sense to get to this more limited 1.0 first, and then do 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, right?
The joke always goes that they release more ships because they want to make more money, but I genuinely believe that they make more money based on how the game plays, not how many ships they're releasing. We can see they were releasing way more ships per year back in 2018, 2019 than they do now, yet they're making a lot more money now because, the audience is bigger, obviously, but the game's better.
big ships are like a stopgap measure that are for, if you really think about it, they're only for existing backers. Very, very few new players come in and buy a big ship for their first purchase. They're always $45 packages. And the most profitable year CIG ever had was 2 years ago, when you look at the numbers for new players versus funding, and there's a lot of new players and a lot of funding. It means that a lot of people spend small amounts of money. That, I think, is the key to success. You know, and those people were brought in. Why? Because that Citizen Con showed off so many exciting things about Star Citizen and gameplay that seemed like they were coming soon. They didn't come very soon, but it seemed like it was coming soon.
I think that was also the year that we got, that was 2 years ago, 2022. Might not have been the year we got better persistence, but there was a year when persistence got better, and Invictus of that year brought in a lot of streamers, and the game was just in general running decently. And yeah, just a lot of people came in. You can also look at 2020. Obviously, the pandemic was a big thing, but 2020 was the year we got baby persistence, when we didn't lose our content every single quarter. And that made a huge difference to people. A lot more people played after that. And I think, like you're saying, you know, 1.0 release is a big deal, because that not only shows that they're building a game, it shows that they have a plan for something that people can see hit a release date and then actually play. And if they can really reach that level, I keep saying it, I think they can make way more money selling cheaper items to a way more massive audience than they could selling expensive ships to the relatively small group that is following the game right now.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be way more successful when they're making much more numerous small transactions versus these large single transactions.